In the hallowed halls of philosophy, where wisdom and enlightenment are said to reside, there lurks a darker truth. Beneath the noble words of history's greatest thinkers lie quotes so disturbing, so unsettling, that they've sparked censorship, controversy, and fear. These aren't mere musings, they're mental time bombs, waiting to detonate in the minds of the unsuspecting. And the quote at number 6, it's still being erased from books and banned in classrooms today. Welcome to the abyss, where we'll count down the top 10 most disturbing quotes in philosophy. These aren't just provocative statements, they're windows into the darkest corners of human thought. As we descend into this intellectual underworld, prepare yourself for insights that challenge not just your beliefs, but the very foundations of morality and civilization. Our journey begins with number 10, a quote that sets the tone for our descent. Friedrich Nietzsche, the infamous German philosopher, once wrote, "When you look long into an abyss, the abyss also looks into you." This chilling observation reminds us that in our quest for knowledge, we risk being consumed by the very darkness we seek to understand. It's a warning that resonates throughout our list, as we confront ideas that may forever change how we view the world and ourselves. At number 9, we encounter Arthur Schopenhauer's brutal assault on what many consider the cornerstone of ethics. Compassion is the basis of morality. Nonsense. Pity is weakness. With these words, Schopenhauer strips away the veneer of human kindness, suggesting that our noblest impulses may be nothing more than disguised frailty. It's a perspective that forces us to question the very nature of goodness itself. Moving to number 8, we find ourselves face to face with the infamous Marquis de Sade, whose name has become synonymous with depravity. Cruelty, he declared, is simply the energy of the soul. In one sentence, de Sade reframes violence not as a moral failing, but as a fundamental expression of human nature. It's a thought that lingers, unsettling in its implications for how we understand both virtue and vice. Our 7th spot belongs to Michel Foucault, the French philosopher who dared to challenge our understanding of sanity itself. Madness, he posited, is the absence of work. With this deceptively simple statement, Foucault suggests that our very definition of mental health is inextricably tied to our capacity for labor, a notion that casts a sinister shadow over our concepts of productivity and worth in modern society. As we approach the midpoint of our list, we encounter Jean-Paul Sartre's famously bleak assessment of human relations. Hell is other people, he wrote, encapsulating in 4 words the existential dread that can accompany even our closest relationships. It's a quote that resonates with anyone who's ever felt trapped by social obligations or suffocated by the expectations of others. And now, we arrive at number 6, a quote so controversial, so laden with historical baggage, that it continues to be censored in various countries to this day. Martin Heidegger, a philosopher whose brilliance was matched only by his moral failings, uttered these words, "Only a God can still save us." On the surface, it might seem a plea for divine intervention, but given Heidegger's ties to Nazi ideology, these words take on a far more sinister meaning, one that continues to spark debate and censorship decades after they were first spoken. As we enter the top 5, we're confronted with Diogenes the Cynic's stark challenge to materialism. "I threw away my cup when I saw a child drinking from his hands," he proclaimed, stripping away the pretenses of civilization to reveal a more primal truth. It's a quote that forces us to question not just our possessions, but the very structures of society we take for granted. At number 4, Georges Bataille pushes us further into the realm of the forbidden. The need to go astray, to be destroyed, is an extremely private, distant, passionate truth. Here, Bataille suggests that within each of us lies a desire for our own annihilation, a dark impulse that defies reason and morality alike. It's a thought that lingers, unsettling in its resonance with our deepest, unspoken urges. Thomas Hobbes claims our 3rd spot with his infamously pessimistic view of human existence. The life of man, solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. In one sentence, Hobbes strips away all pretense of nobility or purpose, reducing life to a grim struggle against inevitable suffering and death. It's a perspective that challenges us to find meaning in a world seemingly devoid of it. As we approach the pinnacle of our list, we encounter Emile Cioran's chilling reflection on suicide. "It is not worth the bother of killing yourself, since you always kill yourself too late." With cold logic, Cioran suggests that even the ultimate act of self-determination is futile, a thought that pushes the boundaries of existential despair to their limit. Before we reveal our number 1 quote, let's pause to consider, if truth sets us free, why do some truths feel like chains? The philosophers we've encountered on this journey didn't shy away from the darkest aspects of existence. They dared to voice the unthinkable, to challenge the comfortable lies we tell ourselves about the nature of reality, morality, and human nature. These quotes aren't just words on a page. They're intellectual depth charges, designed to explode our preconceptions and force us to confront uncomfortable truths. Some have been banned, others censored, but all continue to resonate with a power that transcends time and culture. As we've seen, the pursuit of wisdom isn't always a noble journey into the light. Sometimes, it's a descent into darkness, where the truths we uncover are as likely to shatter us as they are to enlighten us. The philosophers we've encountered weren't afraid to confront the abyss, and in doing so, they've left us with insights that continue to challenge, disturb, and provoke. So the next time you encounter a philosophical quote that makes you uncomfortable, remember, discomfort is often the price of wisdom. And in a world where some truths are still considered too dangerous to speak aloud, perhaps the most revolutionary act is to confront them head-on. No matter how disturbing they may be, in the shadowy corners of human thought, there exist ideas so potent, so dangerous, that they've been systematically erased from our collective consciousness. These are not mere words, but philosophical grenades, primed to detonate the very foundations of society. Tonight, we delve into the forbidden realm of censored wisdom, counting down the top 10 most disturbing quotes in philosophy. As we journey through this intellectual underworld, remember, these aren't just provocative statements. They're battle cries that have echoed through history, only to be silenced by those who fear their power. From dusty tomes locked away in Vatican vaults, to digital archives scrubbed clean by government algorithms, these quotes have survived despite relentless attempts to destroy them. Our countdown begins with number 10, a quote that still sends shivers down the spines of academics worldwide. Friedrich Nietzsche, the infamous German philosopher, once declared, "He who fights with monsters should look to it that he himself does not become a monster. And if you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss also gazes into you." This chilling warning about the corrupting nature of power has been twisted and manipulated by regimes seeking to justify their own brutality. Moving to number 9, we encounter the Marquis de Sade, whose works were banned for over a century in multiple countries. His most disturbing quote, "In order to know virtue, we must first acquaint ourselves with vice." This seemingly innocuous statement hides a deeper, more sinister implication about the nature of morality itself. At number 8, we find Michel Foucault, whose psychiatric theories were deemed too dangerous for public consumption in 1970s France. Madness is the absolute break with the work of art. It forms the constitutive moment of abolition, which dissolves in time the truth of the work of art. This quote challenges our very notion of sanity and creativity, suggesting that true genius lies on the precipice of madness. Number 7 brings us to Émile Cioran, the Romanian philosopher whose nihilistic musings were systematically purged from textbooks. After the fall of communism, the fact that life has no meaning is a reason to live. Moreover, the only one. This stark assertion strikes at the heart of human existence, challenging us to find purpose in a seemingly purposeless universe. As we approach the midpoint of our countdown, tension builds. These aren't just words on a page. They're intellectual time bombs, waiting to explode in the minds of those brave enough to confront them. Each quote we've encountered has been deemed too dangerous for public consumption, buried beneath layers of censorship and denial. But none of these compare to number 6, a quote so controversial, so deeply unsettling, that it's still being actively erased from history books today. This philosophical fragment has the power to unravel the very fabric of modern society, challenging our most deeply held beliefs about human nature and the structure of civilization itself. Before we reveal this earth-shattering statement, let's pause to consider, who decides which truths are too dangerous for the world to read? What gives any institution, be it government, religion, or academia, the right to shield us from these profound, if disturbing, insights? Number 6 comes from Martin Heidegger, a philosopher whose Nazi affiliations have made him a pariah in many circles. His most controversial quote is still redacted in German schools. "The banality of evil presupposes that the essence of evil is not radical, that it has no roots, and that because it has no roots, it has no limitations, that it can go to unthinkable extremes and sweep over the whole world." This chilling observation suggests that true evil isn't some grand, dramatic force, but rather a mundane, everyday occurrence idea so disturbing that it continues to be censored nearly a century after it was first uttered. Moving to number 5, we encounter Thomas Hobbes, whose bleak view of human nature was deemed too anti-humanist for American curriculum committees. "The condition of man is a condition of war of everyone against everyone." This stark assessment of the human condition challenges our most cherished notions of social progress and cooperation. At number 4, we find Jean-Paul Sartre, whose existentialist philosophy faced condemnation from the Vatican in the 1950s. Man is condemned to be free, because once thrown into the world, he is responsible for everything he does. This radical assertion of human responsibility strips away all excuses, leaving us naked before the weight of our own choices. Number 3 brings us to Arthur Schopenhauer, whose views on women have been systematically erased from academic anthologies. Women are directly adapted to act as the nurses and educators of our early childhood, for the simple reason that they themselves are childish, foolish, and short-sighted, while deeply offensive by modern standards. This quote reveals the entrenched misogyny that has shaped philosophical discourse for centuries. As we approach the final 2 entries in our countdown, the air grows thick with tension. These aren't just controversial statements, they're intellectual depth charges, capable of shattering entire worldviews. At number 2, we encounter Diogenes the Cynic, whose radical asceticism was labeled dangerous to capitalist morale in the 20th century. I am not an Athenian or a Greek, but a citizen of the world. This seemingly innocuous statement carries revolutionary implications, challenging the very notion of national identity and borders. Finally, we arrive at number 1, the most disturbing, the most censored, the most dangerous philosophical quote of all time. Brace yourselves, for this statement has the power to unravel the very foundations of human society. Georges Bataille, the French surrealist whose writings are still blacklisted in conservative educational systems, delivers the coup de grace. The sovereign being is burdened with the necessities that degrade him. He has the option of alleviating this burden, but only through a negative action. He can deny the authority of these necessities and put himself above them. This quote, with its implicit call for rebellion against all forms of authority and constraint, represents the ultimate threat to established power structures. It suggests that true freedom, true sovereignty can only be achieved by rejecting the very systems that claim to protect and nurture us. As we conclude our journey through these forbidden fragments of wisdom, we're left with a haunting question. What other truths lie buried beneath layers of censorship and denial? How many world-changing ideas have been lost to the sands of time, deemed too dangerous for human consumption? Remember, knowledge is power, and some knowledge is so powerful that those in authority will stop at nothing to keep it from you. The next time you open a philosophy book, ask yourself, what's been removed, what's been redacted, and most importantly, why? In a world where ideas are more dangerous than weapons, these censored quotes stand as a testament to the enduring power of human thought. They challenge us to question everything, to push beyond the boundaries of conventional wisdom, and to confront the darkest corners of our own nature. As you ponder these disturbing truths, remember, the most dangerous idea of all might be the one you haven't encountered yet. Keep searching, keep questioning, and never stop pushing against the limits of what's deemed acceptable, for in that relentless pursuit of forbidden knowledge, we might just find the key to our own liberation. In the shadowy depths of human thought, there lurk ideas so potent, so dangerous, that they've been banished from polite society. Welcome to the countdown of the 10 most disturbing quotes in philosophy, a journey into the abyss of wisdom that still haunts us today. As we descend into this intellectual underworld, remember, these aren't just words. They're premonitions, warnings, and perhaps even catalysts for the very future we now inhabit. From the mind-bending paradoxes of Nietzsche to the chilling prophecies of Foucault, these banned ideas seem to echo with an uncanny resonance in our modern world. Let's begin with number 10. Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher with the mustache as bold as his ideas, once proclaimed, "When you gaze long into an abyss, the abyss gazes also into you." This isn't just poetic. It's a terrifying glimpse into the nature of obsession and the dangers of confronting the darkest aspects of existence. In our age of endless scrolling and digital rabbit holes, haven't we all felt the abyss staring back? Moving to number 9, we encounter Michel Foucault's unsettling vision. The panoptic mechanism arranges spatial unities that make it possible to see constantly and to recognize immediately. Decades before the rise of surveillance capitalism, Foucault foresaw a world where visibility equals control. As we willingly surrender our data to tech giants, are we not living in the panopticon he feared? At number 8, we find Emile Cioran, the prince of pessimism, who declared, "It is not worth the bother of killing yourself, since you always kill yourself too late." In an era of digital burnout and chronic anxiety, Cioran's words cut to the bone of our collective exhaustion. Have we not all felt the weight of existing in a world that never sleeps, never stops demanding our attention? Sliding into number 7, Martin Heidegger warns us, the essence of technology is by no means anything technological. This cryptic statement becomes chillingly clear as we grapple with AI ethics and the unintended consequences of our creations. Are we not living in the shadow of Heidegger's technological inframing, our very humanity at stake? Thomas Hobbes takes the 6th spot, with his infamous description of life and the state of nature as solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. In an age of political polarization and online echo chambers, doesn't Hobbes' vision of chaos feel uncomfortably familiar? Are we not witnessing the unraveling of the social contract he sought to establish? Halfway through our list, at number 5, we encounter Georges Bataille's disturbing assertion, eroticism is ascending to life up to the point of death. Bataille's obsession with transgression and self-destruct finds a haunting parallel in modern eco-suicide theories as we hurtle towards climate catastrophe. Are we not engaged in a collective dance of eros and thanatos on a global scale? Jean-Paul Sartre claims the 4th spot with his existential gut punch. Hell is other people. In an age of unprecedented connectivity, why do we feel more isolated than ever? Sartre's vision of alienation seems to have manifested in our digital lives, where we're simultaneously more connected and more alone than at any point in human history. Arthur Schopenhauer's pessimistic worldview earns him the 3rd place, with his assertion that life swings like a pendulum backward and forward between pain and boredom. In our era of instant gratification and chronic dissatisfaction, haven't we all felt trapped in this existential oscillation? The rise of Buddhist-inspired tech nihilism suggests Schopenhauer's ideas are far from dead. Runner-up at number 2 is Diogenes the Cynic, who famously said, "I am not an Athenian or a Greek, but a citizen of the world." While this might seem positive, its implications are profound and unsettling. In rejecting local identity, Diogenes foreshadowed our globalized, rootless existence. As we grapple with the erosion of traditional communities, are we not all becoming citizens of nowhere? And now, the moment you've been waiting for. The most disturbing philosophical quote, number 1 on our list, comes from the Marquis de Sade. The ultimate triumph of philosophy would be to cast light upon the mysterious ways in which providence moves to achieve its ends, and then to deduce therefrom some plan of conduct for man. This quote, still censored in many circles, embodies the dangerous allure of total freedom divorced from morality. In an age of online radicalization and ethical relativism, de Sade's words are more relevant and more terrifying than ever. As we emerge from this journey through the darkest corners of philosophy, we're left with a chilling question. Are these banned ideas warning signs of a future to avoid, or blueprints for a reality already unfolding around us? The line between prediction and provocation grows blurrier with each passing day. Nietzsche's concept of eternal recurrence finds an eerie echo in modern physics simulations. Foucault's disciplinary society seems to have evolved into our current surveillance capitalism. Sioran's psychological plague manifests in our hyper-connected yet deeply alienated digital lives. Heidegger's fears of technological inframing align perfectly with our growing sense of AI-induced alienation. Hobbes' view of chaos mirrors the post-truth politics of our time. Bataille's fascination with self-destructs resonates with current eco-suicide theories that suggest humanity is on a path to self-annihilation. Sartre's alienation reflects the modern epidemic of loneliness and anxiety. Schopenhauer's denial of will fits neatly into the Buddhist-inspired tech nihilism, gaining traction in Silicon Valley. Diogenes' critique of materialism finds new life in minimalism and anti-consumerist movements. And de Sade's dangerous freedom? It's playing out in real time across the darker corners of the internet. These philosophers, often marginalized or outright banned, seem to have peered into the very soul of our modern condition. Their words, once considered too dangerous for public consumption, now read like prophecies fulfilled. But here's the truly unsettling thought. Did these dark minds simply see our future? Or did their ideas, seeping slowly into the collective unconscious, help create the very world we now inhabit? As we stand at the crossroads of multiple existential crises, from AI ethics to climate catastrophe, from digital nihilism to the erosion of truth itself, these once forbidden philosophical ideas demand our attention. They force us to confront the darkest potentials of human thought and the terrifying trajectories of our civilization. So, the next time you encounter a philosophical idea that disturbs you to your core, that makes you want to look away or deny its validity, remember this: it might just be a glimpse into our shared future. The most unsettling truths often hide in plain sight, waiting for minds brave enough or foolish enough to grasp them. In the end, Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of these quotes isn't their content, but their persistence. Despite attempts to censor, ban, or forget them, they endure, whispering their dark wisdom. Across the centuries, they remind us that in the realm of ideas, the most dangerous ones are often those we try hardest to silence. As we close this exploration of philosophical darkness, ask yourself, which of these ideas resonates most deeply with you? And more importantly, what does that resonance reveal about the world we've created and the future we're hurtling towards?